Hey, Moon Platoon, Andrew here, and George V's words of wisdom comes in nice and sharp. Good day overall. Hedgies burned a lot of their ammo for almost nothing, as well as answering the question later, which is, do I think we're gonna have a stream this weekend? So we have a think session as a community, all of this and more in this video. Let's unwind the clock and talk about today, the spookiest of days. Put on my tie. Professor Meatball and I are waiting for you to see whether this video has 300 likes. If it doesn't yet, smash it and tell us in the comments down below which like you ended up being, and let's get started. GME and AMC are currently trending in the after hours right below their VWAPs. Got a kicking after a battle at 60.01. So AMC, what happened today? What exactly was the 500,000 calls expiring in the money referring to, and was Michael Burry right about the mother of all crashes? Well, first of all, let's answer that last question. No, across the board today, everything had a minor pullback, if any. Like, just take Apple and the blue chips, for example. You take a look at Apple and you see a 0.13% drop. Not much of a mother of all crashes, if I can extrapolate a little bit of what Michael Burry was trying to say. But GME down 4.5% and AMC down 2.5% was the quadruple witching day, the sideways trading that we were talking about yesterday, right? Even have the little witch's hat, and now it's gone. Movie magic. So what I want to talk about is this 410,000 calls expiring in the money. What does that mean, and will we see positive price action when these calls are exercised? Well, that now needs us to pull out the epic pen and talk about when a call is naked and when a call is covered. There's two things that you can do when you sell a call in the options market, right? You can, let's say that we're talking about a $60 strike, right? And these $60 strikes were all out of the money if they expired today, since AMC closed at 59.26 with 240 million volume and with a previous close of 60.73, right? So 240 million, that was some substantial volume, twice as much as the average 3-month, but I would say still on the low side, especially since today we had a quadruple witching. But now that we have $60 strike, let's consider whether or not we want to cover that. That means how many shares do we want to have on hand in case the $60 strike does roll into the money. That's where we take a look at that options chain. This is the AMC options chain. It gives us a sense of how many calls are accumulating up and faster and faster snowball effect of that gamma squeeze. At $60 just for today alone, there were $3 million of puts and $3 million of calls. Married put conversion, anyone? If that sounds fishy to you, that is going to be in the next part of this video. So $60 strike at 100 shares a contract, right? How many of these shares should I hedge? Each time I have to buy a share in order to stay delta neutral, I end up adding to the AMC price, right? Plus one, plus one, plus one. If I have to buy all the way up to 90 shares in order to stay delta neutral, well, that's 10 more shares as I wait for AMC's price to go all the way up to 60 with 75 cents left. That is pretty much the Greek in a nutshell, right? Or instead of 90, I can just buy 0. And that is a naked call that someone has sold, probably a Citadel or short whale, and put into the market. If they did not cover the 410,000 calls that expired in the money today, which mathematically you might see that they have a hard time allocating if they these shares are actually real and non-synthetic, then we are going to see much of this price action currently at 0, right, turn immediately into 100. So a naked call is dangerous because of the profit chart of how much money the market maker can expect to make. Let's say that here is 0, right? And on the y-axis is, on the x-axis here is how much AMC is worth. At $60, the profit is 0. So here is that market maker's profit margin, right? Anything less than $60, so we come all the way over here, right? Maybe this is all the way down to 0, then they make a $60 profit, especially if they can bankrupt AMC. So this goes up from 60 and makes a straight line. That's positive 60. However, if they end up keeping this naked, then they end up with a potential negative infinity of potential losses, because if it turns out that it rolls past the strike price and then continues rising higher and higher into expiration, that 0 shares that they hedged can quickly turn into 100 as soon as someone would like to exercise those shares. So that ends up being the question. How many of these 400,000 calls are actually hedged? Well, let's take a quick estimation of how many shares were available today. Right, we were looking at iBorrow desk at 2.8 million earlier this morning, completely vanished into thin air. And then from 300,000 down to 70, that means an additional 300,000 or so was borrowed. That puts us up at 3 million shares worth of AMC. So that's just 3 mil on top of 400K. So if they borrowed it because, one, they were willing and ready to short the stock wherever it saw a bullish pattern, or they were willing to be able to push the stock price down or add that to their naked calls, any of those situations could do. But 3 million shares, divide that by 100, right? Divided by 10, that's 300,000. Divided by 10 again, that's only 30,000 from today. So 30,000 shares that, 30,000 calls, such as the 30,000 calls that didn't get to roll into the money at $60 strike. That is the kind of power that now they have just maxed their credit card for. Each time they have to borrow millions of more shares, they end up pushing them into a deeper and deeper grave, something that soon enough the hedge funds will not be able to crawl back from. All shorts must cover. And if the 3 million shares that were borrowed today is any indication, we're going to start seeing Ortex update that short interest higher and higher, especially because Ortex comes at T+2, same as how much time you have to exercise your in the money calls. So let's take a look at Ortex. AMC down 1.3% all the way up to 13.45, right? Standard. This is from Wednesday's data. On Thursday, I'm expecting that we are not going to see much change at all because the hedge funds allowed us to get away with 10% rip on that day. But on Wednesday, mark my words, we're going to be able to see some major changes into the short interest because of the 3 million that was borrowed earlier today. Math does not lie. Over here on GME, we saw a staggering change in the short interest, and now we're playing the waiting game. How much of the short interest that we have to actually calculate can be expected for the short squeeze, and how much are we expecting for the naked shorts that we cannot calculate? If this goes underneath the double digits, what does that mean? Well, I have a fun announcement. Thanks for staying till the end of this video, because we do have Dave Lauer and Austin Tobit coming on to talk about the project that they have been working on later on next week. So if you're excited for that, ex-Citadel whistleblower Dave Lauer, data scientist man, he is going to come on and tell us what to expect for GME, since the super strong community has been behind GameStop this entire time, and for another quadruple witching day in a row, it ended up doing nothing much of the price action we were expecting. Another thing that you might have noticed is that the after hours continues going on with a strong buy signal from Lux algorithm, something that was a clear indicator, something that gave us a strong buy signal in the pre-market earlier, and that caused AMC's rip to be staggering in the pre-market. So if you guys want something that makes swing trading easy, makes patterns easier to recognize, well, Lux Algo is in the description, and you get 20% off with Andrew Money's description, as well as 2 free stocks from Webull. That's the charting tool that I'm currently using to show you my resistance supports, VWAP and EMA. And if you guys have not yet heard, we do have fun giveaways for the Moon Platoon Gorillionaire and Meatball Space Legends here, as well as access to my six-figure portfolio on SoFi. That's what all of these guys get to do. If you don't see your name on here yet, I'll be updating this list over the weekend, so you'll be able to see you front and center. Thank you guys so much. Have a great weekend. Watch the next video to talk a little bit about what those married put conversions are, and we'll see you in the money. Peace.